Hello everyone and welcome to today's Quick Learn. My name is Abby and I will be your host for this afternoon. Today we're going to be covering how to add the payment terms to your invoice. Now Quick Learns are a lot shorter than our usual sessions. They are around 20 minutes long, which will include between 10 to 15 minutes demonstration, but it will have booked out 30 minutes in your calendar for if we have any questions at the end that are still outstanding. Now, I don't have Tina and Michael on today to answer your questions, so do keep them coming throughout the session as well. We are going to start the session at 5 past, so if you want to go and grab yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea before we start the session, feel free to do so. In the meantime, just while I wait for others to join the session, I'll just pop myself back on mute. Okay, so just while we're waiting for the others to join the session, so I just want to cover a little bit of housekeeping. So if you are new to joining us on webinars or a regular attendee, I just want to make you aware of how the webinar will work. So your microphone will be muted during the session. If you do have any questions, please do pop them into the questions panel down the right hand side. If you don't see that, you can click on the option that looks like a little speech bubble with the question mark in the middle, as you can see as per the example. And that's going to open up that questions panel where you can pop in your question in the little white box at the bottom that says ask the staff a question, and then just click on the blue button that says send for that to come through to us. One more thing before I do move on, there will be no handout for the session as it is going to be mainly demonstration. We are going to start the session at 5 past. So again, for those of you that may have just joined, want to grab yourself a coffee, we'll just while we wait for the others to join us for 5 past. I'll put myself back on mute in the meantime. Okay, so let's get started. So I want to say welcome to those who have just joined us on today's session. So this is where we're going to be covering how to add your payment terms to an invoice. Now, over the past couple of weeks, we have been doing quick learns on some report design aspects, very basic. So you can check those other sessions out that we have done on our Help Centre on our recordings page. I will show you how to find that later on in the session. So sessions that we have covered, such as just adding basic text or adding a logo to your invoices or your statements. So what we'll do now is we'll look at what we're going to be covering today. So I'm going to introduce the benefits of adding payment terms to your invoices. We'll then demonstrate how to save a copy of an existing layout and change the name to suit your business. And finally, how to add the payment terms by just using text, then by adding a text box and a data field together, and then how to add your payment terms using an expression. At the end of the demonstration, I will then come back to my slides to summarize the session, and I'll also talk about upcoming webinars as well. Please do keep your questions coming throughout the session, so either me, Tina, or Michael can pick those up for you. Okay, so by including your payment details on your 50 accounts invoices, you do make things clearer and easier for your customers. It will help you get paid faster, boost your cash flow, and cut down those late payments. So by doing that, you're adopting efficient communication for your customers, and you also speed up payment processing and improve overall cash flow. Before I move on to any demonstration, I just want to kind of explain a little bit more in terms of the three options that I'm going to cover. You're probably wondering which one is going to be best for me, which one am I going to use? So if you're going to be using a text box, so this is mainly if you're going to be, if basically all your payment terms are the same for all your customers. So if it's a blanket payment term for all your customers, then you can just use a text box. If you've got different payment terms for different customers, you might want to use a data field. So that might be where you want the terms of the individual customer record to pull through, but you want to add your own label or text before the actual data field. And then expression, that might be where you want the terms of the customer record to pull through with a label, so you don't have to add in that extra text box. So let's move on to the demonstration and let's have a look at how these three options look. I'm just going to pop over to my software. And the first thing I'm going to cover, as I cover on every session when I've done these report design basics, is you always want to be changing the name and saving a copy of a standard layout. And that's because you can't save over the top of a standard. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go into invoices and credits. You want to highlight any invoice, doesn't matter which one it is. It's just so you get the option to print to be able to get access to the layouts. So I've got this one here. I'm just going to click print. And you can see I've already got one there. We'll delete that one. But let's have a look at this. This is the one I'm going to use to start with. So you can see I've got it favorited at the moment. But if you click in layouts, you have got the choice of using all of these ones in here to start with. So I'm going to use the one that's in my favorites. Let's preview it just so we can see what it looks like originally. So if I just click preview, and this is what we're working with at the moment. So if you can see I've got the name of my business at the top. If we scroll to the very bottom, you can see I've got the information, the pricing at the very bottom right. But that's pretty much all I've got on there at the moment. To edit the layout, you can either do it from within preview. You can see you've got edit along the top, or you can right click on your mouse and it'll bring up the option to edit that layout. Or you can click edit along the top left here. So I'm going to edit this layout here. And you can see here it's opened up in Report Designer for me. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the name of the layout and make sure we're saving a copy so that we can edit that layout and make it customized. So the first thing we're going to do is change the name. So we're going to go to Report along the top and then into Report Properties. And here you can change the report name and the description. I'm just going to change this to AP demo and solutions include payment terms. So you can see they're pretty identifiable what this layout is going to contain. Again, you can put whatever you want to call it, that's entirely up to you, but that's what I'm going to call mine for today. We're going to click OK, and you can see there that has changed the name of the layout there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to save it as a copy, because you can see at the moment my save icon is grayed out, and that's because I'm trying to work with a standard layout which you can't save over the top. So you're going to go to File in the top left and do Save As. You now want to name the file, so I'm going to call it exactly the same. So AP demo solutions, demo and solutions, including payment terms. And then you click Save. And that's going to save it in the right location, so you don't have to worry about where it's saving to, as it does pick up the default location. Once you're happy with that, I'm just going to close this down. Just want to show you how you can add it to your favorites. So we close that down there. And if we go back into layouts in here, tell you what, we might need to refresh the list since we've created a new one. So I'm just going to close that list down. I'm going to reopen print again. I'm going to go into layouts. And down the left-hand side, you should see the name has changed. So I'm just going to scroll all the way down to locate that new one in the list so we can see it there. AP demo and solutions, including payment terms. And you can see as well, just above my mouse, you can see it's also changed the file name for me as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to favorite that one. So now when I go into my favorites, I can see it in the list. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit that one because I want to add some payment terms to this layout. So we're going to click edit again to open it back up. So the first one I'm going to show you is how to add it as text. So this is if it is blanket terms for all your customers, it doesn't need to change, and it's just you want it as a standard text. So what you can do is you've got the add text option in the toolbar along the top, or you can go to toolbox and you can select add text from here as well. I'm going to add it from the toolbar. So if we click on the toolbar on add text, you can see it's now orange. That means that I've now got that option selected. I can then come to my layout. I can draw a text box. Now you can copy and paste this from somewhere else, or you can free type it in. So I'm just going to put payment terms 30 days net. Once you're happy with that, you can play around with it a little bit. You can change the text. So I'm just going to maybe change my font in the toolbar along the top. I'm going to change mine to Homer. I might want to make it a little bit bigger so it's more clearer to see. You can change the size of the box as well. You can also drag it, as long as you've got those 4 arrows in the different directions. You can pick it around, move it, align it with other parts of the invoice. Once you're happy with that, you can I recommend previewing it so you make sure you know it's in the right place. So you can preview it either from preview down the bottom, along the bottom here, or you can go into view and then into preview. So then you can scroll to the bottom and you can see exactly what that's going to look like on your layout. It might be worth as well printing it so then you can see what it looks like. You might have specific paper you want to use. You want to make sure it sits right on your layout there. So you can also have the option to print. To go back into the report designer, if you want to make any further changes, you either want to click close here, or you want to go back to the designer part along the bottom here. You don't want to be closing it in the top right, as that will close report designer down and you may lose the changes that you've made. So I'm just going to click close along the top. And it's going to take me back into the report designer. So I can see there. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to click save. So then that'll have saved the layout for me, and I can close down the report design. So that's just as simple as adding a text box. Next, I want to be showing you how to add a data field into an invoice. So the data field and expressions come from the customer record. So if I just go into the customer record, I'm going to go into ABS garages. I'm going to go into credit control. So in here, this is where you can add your credit limit, your settlement due, your payment due from, and things like that. Now, we did have a session this morning that Jackie did cover. That recording should be available shortly, and that was all about credit control for your customers, if you did want to check that out. But what we're going to be covering today is this one here, so trading terms text. So it's this part here that we're going to be pulling through into your invoice layout. So if we go back into the layout, so I'm just going to close that down. I'm going to go into invoices and credits, and I'm going to go back into my layout, and I'm going to make sure I pick up that payment terms layout. So if I click edit again, now we don't have to rename it this time. We can just save over the top of what we've done. It's just if you start from scratch and you're creating a new layout. So we're going to scroll to the bottom, and what I'm going to do this time is I am just going to delete the text out of here. So we're back to how we had it before. So it might be that you want to pull your data field, so the 30 days net, from the customer record, but you might want to have a bit of a description in front of that data field. And you want to have that across the board for your customers. So we're going to add a text box again. So I did that again, add a text, and then drew a text box. You can see I've got that text box now. I'm just going to copy and paste some information. So I want to add in this information here. So I've got late payments may be subject to interest charges at 10% per month. And then I've got payment terms and a colon at the end. Now I just want to change that so it matches the rest of my invoice. So again, I'm going to change my text, make it a little bit bigger. So then I've got that there. Just added another text box there. There we go. I'm just going to adjust that slightly. Now, to add your data field, which is going to hold the information so that if you were to update this at any time in the customer record, you then don't have to come in and amend your layout as well. It will automatically pull from that customer record. So we're going to add a data field. So you've got that option in the toolbar along the top. You've also got the option in Toolbox as well. If you go to Toolbox and add a data field. So if we click add a data field, draw a box, it's going to bring up this box here, this window here. So you can either look for it in the options here. So you would go to Sales Ledger, find that option there, click on the plus. Now this bit is a little bit of a long-winded way, and then you would look for terms in the list. So you can see that there. Alternatively, you can type in terms in the top, so that option there, and click the green arrow. It's a lot quicker to find it that way. You would then just click terms and click OK. And you can see it does put in the word terms, but when we preview that, it's going to make it a little bit smaller. Make my box a little bit longer actually, because it's got a little bit longer text in there. So then you would align it up exactly how you want it. You can also move the text box with the arrow keys as well. So then I've got that in position. I click preview. I scroll to the bottom, and you can see I've got two separate boxes. So this is my text box that I added, and then this is my data field where it's pulled just that text from the customer record. So that's how you add the data field. To go back into the designer, and then you can then save that as well. Now the expression is slightly different. So the expression is a little bit more, the best way to describe it is the expressions are a little bit more complicated, but we have help center articles which provide you with the exact information that you need. So I'm going to get that up for you, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to add an expression. So I'm just going to close this down. I'm just going to go into my help center. So in version 29, I've got the option in the top right. If you're on version 28 and below, you do have the option for the help center here, and you can search for the same article. So I'm just going to open help. And I'm just going to search for add payment terms, and I'm going to search. And whether you're on the web browser looking for this article as well, you will find it. It's called Report Designer, How to Add Payment Terms to Your Invoice Layout. And I'm just going to scroll down to the first section, as this is what we need. So this is what we're adding, but we're using an expression. So I'm just going to drag this just to the right here, just while I get my layout back up. So I'm going to go back into invoices and credits. I'm going to click on print. And I'm going to go back into editing that layout. So I'm going to scroll back to the bottom. I'm just going to delete these options out here. We'll add it as an expression. So if we just pull this back over, so we can have it to the side here. So all we're going to do this time is we're going to go to the toolbox along the top. We're going to go down to add expression. I'm going to draw a box. It's going to bring up this window here for me. Now this is where you come to step 4. All you're going to do is highlight from the speech marks all the way to the very end. Now, if you're on the internal help center here, you can't do right click and copy, so you will have to do Control and C on your keyboard. And then we're going to come into this expression editor, and we're going to press paste, right click and paste. So it's going to, what this is telling you, it's going to put payment terms in front, and then it's going to pull that 30 days net from the customer record. So it's going to do payment terms plus that text box. So if we click OK, it won't show it when it's in the designer, but if we just close this article down, put it in position, and click preview, you can see there, it's added that in, it's put payment terms in the front, and then it's added 30 days net. And again, when you come to, if you wouldn't have to come into the layout, if you use expression or a data field, you can just update the customer record and that will update the invoice layout for you. But if you are going to use a text box, then you will need to come in and manually edit the layout. So once you're happy with that, again, you would just click save and then close. So that is how you add your payment terms into your layout. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pop back to my slides and I'm going to summarize the session. But please do keep your questions coming throughout. We've got a couple of more things to cover here. So I'm just going to pop back to my slides. If you're not sure how to ask a question, you do have a questions panel down the right hand side. If you don't see it expanded like it is on this example, you do need to click on the speech bubble with the question mark in the middle. Okay, so to summarize the session, you're going to select the layout you wish to use and edit. You're going to change the name by going to report and then report properties. You're then going to do file and save as. And you're going to change the file name as well. You're then going to make your relevant changes, so add a logo, add text or data fields. You will then save the report or layout and then close Report Designer, and then adding to favorites is optional. And again, you can follow these exact same steps to add your logo or text or anything to the likes of your sales orders, your purchase orders, remittances, delivery notes. You follow these exact same steps. Just while we're waiting for any other questions to come through, I'm just going to cover some upcoming webinars. So this is what we've got coming over the next couple of weeks. So we've got improved bank feeds, 29.2. So we've been doing that over the course of August and September. So we have still got sessions coming through for the rest of September there. So if you aren't able to attend the one on Wednesday, we do have other sessions as well. We've also got Get Paid Online with OPO, so that's formerly known as Sage Pay. That's also tomorrow afternoon, if you do want to check that out and get registered for that. Other sessions include important customer records, cash flow option, company archive. We've also got a quick learn on email and invoices, so very basic email settings. Get paid online with invoice payments, so that's if you use Stripe or PayPal. We've also got another quick learn on importing product records as well. What I'll do as well is I'll also show you how to find those earlier sessions that we've been doing on these report design, and you can do that from within your software. So I'm just going to pop back over to my slides. To my software, sorry. And on your home page, you should see a tile here for free webinars. You click on more info. That's going to open up in the browser. So in here, it's going to bring you to the registration page for upcoming sessions. But if you just click on view recordings, you can actually find the sessions in here. So you can find, let's have a look. So if we just do Control and F, we can actually look for, let's find the ones for logo. There we go, report designer. So that's found the webinar session, recorded session for how to add a logo to your layouts and statements. You can also find the ones as well for adding text, such as bank details. So there's loads that you can find in here regarding report designer. If we've just popped back to the registration page as well, if you've got any topics that we haven't yet covered and you want to see us cover, on the bottom of the registration page, we do have a suggested topic, new topic form, so do get that filled out if you do have any ideas of things that you would like to see us cover. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of today's session. So please feel free to stay around for if you've got any questions to ask. If you are waiting for an answer to a question, if you've got what you need today and you want to leave the session, you will receive an email in around an hour or so with links to both the webinar schedule and today's recorded session for you to refer back to if needs be. Upon exiting the session, you will see a survey at the end. If you could please let us know any feedback regarding the session. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put myself on mute just for a minute, just to see if there's going to be any questions to come through, and then I'll wrap up the session. Okay, so what I'm going to do is there's no outstanding questions. So what I'll do is I'll wrap the session up. I want to say thank you to Tina, sorry, and Michael, who's been on hand today. And thank you to all of you for your participation. Just a reminder, we've got plenty of sessions over the next couple of weeks, so don't be shy and get registered. So I want to say another thank you and take care.